Hi, welcome to Build It Yourself Laboratory. I'm Addie, one of the many inventors at Build It Yourself. So today we're going to talk about presenting your ideas. Can anyone tell me why presenting your ideas might be important to an inventor? Great. It's important that we present our ideas well because otherwise no one will pay attention to them. And that means presenting our ideas is almost as important as coming up with the ideas themselves. Now let's brainstorm some ways to better present our ideas. Would anyone like to share? Yeah, so explaining your idea clearly, focusing on our audience's interests, selling our idea convincingly, these are all some great examples. And let's talk about all of these more in depth. So looking at this first slide, let's say that both of these bags contain the same amount of candy. Which bag would you buy though, and why? Exactly. The bag on the left looks nicer, right? The other bag looks more sloppy and messy in comparison. We want the nice new bag that looks like it was put together carefully. Even if we know that both bags contain the same amount of candy, the nicer one is still more appealing. What about this next slide? Let's say that both stands are selling the same exact lemonade at the same exact price. Now, which lemonade stand would you visit? I agree. The right stand has a nicer sign and looks more professional. Even though the product is the same, the presentation of the right stand is much, much better. How about this one? If both books are exactly the same on the inside, which book would you pick off the shelf first? That's right. Even though people might say we shouldn't judge a book by its cover, the presentation of something can often tell us a lot about the product. The one on the left looks unpolished and put together without much thought. And even though the content is the same as the right book looks much more exciting and eye-catching. Let's look at these two signs now. Can someone read both signs for me? The first sign says motion is prohibited here, and the second sign says stop. Okay, great. So which of these signs is clear, concise, and convincing? That's right, the red stop sign with the easy-to-read font. Why is the first sign worse? The color and font make it harder to read, there's a lot of text, and the color green doesn't grab our attention the same way that red does. Let's take another look at this one. Can anyone tell me what this is? That's right, it's a BIY lab book. Which one looks like it had the most complete and accurate information? I think it'd be the one on the right because it looks like someone put more time into it. The picture is nicer and more detailed, the font is easier to read, and overall it's nicer to look at. Great. Now imagine that we came up with some amazing invention that solved world hunger or something equally impressive. If it was in the first lab book and people didn't read it, it would be such a shame. We don't want this to happen to us in our inventions, so let's work hard on presenting our ideas the best way possible. Let's work together now. So can everyone draw 3 squares, and at the top of the page put presenting your ideas just like I have on this slide. Then next to each word put the labels ugly, average, and way cool, or something similar. Now on the first box, everyone should scribble. So this is the ugly or I don't care way to present your ideas. This inventor is all over the place and doesn't really seem to care or pay attention to boundaries even. Now in the second box, everyone should shade it in very carefully. This is the average style. This inventor is playing by the rules, staying within the box, and honestly seems a little boring. Now for the last box, everyone should use 2 colors and create a gradient. Let's even add something like a shadow to make the box really pop. This is the way cool style, and this inventor is thinking outside the box but in a logical way. They're also creative, innovative, and exciting. Now what are some examples of the 3 boxes? Let's think about what a musician might look like for each category. For the first box, imagine a musician playing an out-of-tune guitar off-key without any rhythm, right? That's the ugly style. Now, the second box, the average one, imagine a musician playing a tuned guitar on key but very robotically. Imagine short, simple notes played with a metronome. Now for the last box, imagine a musician playing really complex chords and various rhythms on the guitar. They're a superstar. This is a way cool, and this is where we want to be. Can someone read the slide on conclusions? Number 1, building a solution that works is important, but if you do not present your ideas clearly, concisely, and convincingly, you may not get the attention you deserve. And 2, the way you present your ideas will often drive how your buddies will think. Exactly. Let's take a look at some good examples. The first one, here's a coin detection machine. Pay 25 cents and a wizard will answer a question. Can someone tell me why the presentation is so great for this invention? This coin detection machine drew as much attention as the wizard because it's so colorful, playful, clever, and interesting. You may want to pay a quarter as much to get your fortune as to watch what happens when you put a coin in the spillway. Great. Now let's look at this other example. Max, the inventor of this contraption, earned $27.25 with his Feeling Lucky machine. Not only was his game fun, but it looked irresistible. Great, so now that we've talked about fundamentals and looked at some examples, let's put those skills to use. Let's design a lab book cover that will make people want to read it. Make it eye-catching and fun. While designing, make sure to pay attention to the 3 C's. Remember, that's clear, concise, and convincing. Make sure we take these into account when we design our lab book covers. This is an example of a great cover. Make sure your cover also has the words "Build It Yourself Lab Book" at the top, a picture of anything you want, and your first name somewhere. Now, before signing off, I want to remind everyone that these visuals make a big difference in presentation and that it affects whether or not our ideas spread. Even though it might not seem like a big deal, it can make a huge difference, just like we saw in the examples. So take your time on your lab book cover so other people are interested in the inventions that you're going to create. Thanks for listening and happy building.